Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 223 of CEO Life. You are the CEO of your life, whether you want to be or not. Now, for those of you listening, this is my very first episode that I'm going to be uploading on YouTube. And you can actually check out the video on my channel Outlier Circle. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you might be confused as far as what are you talking about? Like, why are you starting on episode 223? Well, I have 222 episodes of straight up audio that you can find on Spotify. I actually just submitted my podcast to be on Apple today. I hope it gets approved. And if that's the case, then I can definitely widen my audience tremendously because apparently a lot of people use Apple Podcasts. So I'm very excited. This may not be something that's permanent because I want to make the process of uploading podcasts as easy as possible. The moment it feels like extra work and it becomes a hassle, I tend to want to stop doing that. So we'll see in terms of the process. I'm very excited right now because I have a really, really baller microphone. Just got it for my birthday and I'm very excited to use it. And I'm like, you know what? Let me see if people will really resonate and really appreciate, that was the word, appreciate the fact that I'm putting it on video. But if it becomes a hassle and it's really not making a big difference, I'll stick to audio. Anyway, today was a fantastic day. Today, I got to speak to students that go to the #1 business and science school in the UK. That is incredible. It's also the #8 university in the world. And I can't even believe it. It's actually really awesome. You know, I'm going to tell a story that not a lot of people know, not even my morning hustlers. This is not something that I have really spoke about. I might have talked about this early on in my earlier episodes of my podcast, but this is probably a story that I should tell a little bit more often. So when I was in high school, when I was about to graduate, you know, the National Honor Society, there's a bunch of that's where all the smart kids, you know, they belong to that club, right? And there was this assembly that was held towards the end of the year. And what my school did was they acknowledged everybody that was in the National Honor Society. And they're like, this person is going to Brown University. And everybody clapped and cheered. And then it's like, this person is going to Northwestern University. And then applause. This person's going to University of California of Irvine. This person's going to MIT. This person's going to, University of Pennsylvania. All these different amazing universities. And I was sitting in the stands feeling dumb as hell because I was going to community college the next year. And I'm like, wow, look at, like, that's awesome for them. They have such a promising future and they're doing some big things. And I wish I can go to those schools. And I felt really, really dumb being in the bleachers. And I remember being in psychology class in my senior year in high school and just being so afraid of what is the next steps, what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to major in. I feel really dumb because I'm going to community college and like I feel like my life is over before I even started, right? And when I went to community college, I realized that actually community college isn't a bad option. It can save you tons of money. And I'm like, I started to feel like it actually worked out that I went to community college. It was really awesome. And, I didn't want the students at my previous high school to feel dumb like I felt because I'm sure they were going to do the same thing the very next year in terms of acknowledging people who were going to these amazing universities, and as they should, right? I mean, why would you stop someone? Like, why would you stop doing that? Why would you stop acknowledging people for winning? And as a matter of fact, it's probably one of the best things to ever happen. I say that all the time, one of the best things that ever happened. But it's a great thing that happened to me, and it was actually good that I felt pain. It was good that I felt dumb and it was because of that propelled me to take these next actions. But in hindsight, it really sucked. So after a year of going to community college and realizing like, wait a minute, I'm saving a lot of money and this is this is actually a pretty good alternative to going straight to a 4-year university. I can still transfer to a 4-year university. I'm just taking my general admission classes here at community college. So after I graduated from high school, I moved maybe an hour and 10 minutes away from my high school, and I was living in a completely new city. And I remember after my first year in community college, and this is around the time where I start diving deeper into Tony Robbins's material, where I made this decision that I'm going to go back to my old high school and I'm going to go talk to the seniors and I'm going to go tell them about the benefits of community college and make sure that they don't feel dumb as I felt dumb when I was a senior in high school. And I'm like, I got to go back and I got to give a presentation on community college. And when I was signing up for community college, I had no idea what to do. I I didn't know how to register for classes. I didn't know anything about financial aid. I didn't know anything. And my older sister helped me out tremendously with that. Helped me register for classes, make sure that I went, step by step as far as applying for the college. And that's what I did. I went to the school and I reached out to my old school that I went to high school at and I said, "Hey, I'm looking to talk about the benefits of community college. I think it can be very helpful." So I reached out to some old teachers and they're like, "Yeah, of course. I'd love to have you come down and talk to my students about that." So I woke up early. These days it'd be considered sleeping in, but I woke up around 5 o'clock in the morning and I had to drive an hour. So school out there starts at 8:15 in the morning, right? And I had to drive out. I had to leave my house like at 5 because all traffic leads into that direction into LA. So I was like, I gotta beat the traffic. So I was out of the door by like 5:10, maybe 5:20, and I'd get out there by like 6:30. So I'd go to Denny's or something, or kind of just chill in my car and just wait for school to start up. And then I would set up my laptop and then I would give presentations to students about the benefits of community college, and I did that for free. I spoke to my English teacher, her all her classes, and she recommended me to the other English teacher, and I went to go speak to all their classes, and they were very appreciative of it, and I felt great. I put together a full hour presentation, and I just did it because I just like I just have to do this. I'm called to do this, and it wasn't like I needed to get any kind of recognition. I didn't think about becoming a professional public speaker. I just felt very called to make a difference. And I truly mean that. I don't want to make myself seem like, oh, I'm the most altruistic person, or I this is just how I am. No, I just thought like, man, if I wish someone came to my class and told me about community college and the benefits of community college. I wish someone came to me and did that, because I wouldn't have felt so dumb in that moment. I wouldn't felt like my life was over. I wouldn't have felt like some people are just gonna be more successful than me, and that's just gonna be it. And I felt like I was called to be that person to go do that. And I don't mean called in some kind of spiritual sense. I meant like I just felt it was the natural step. I just had to go do that. And I would drive that hour to go give that presentation to those students. And I also I did I talk to students out? No, I didn't talk to students, locally. But one thing that's interesting that came out of that was one day I was in my English class in college, right? And I sat next to this woman, and she's asking for help on, uh, I believe it was either math or it was English. I don't remember. It could be that she was asking for help on some math or something, but we were in English class, and I helped her out, and I remember saying, yeah, I actually go talk to students and I tell them, make sure that, you get your math and English out of the way first once you get to college. And she goes, "Oh, okay. Interesting." So what happened was, the very next class that we had together, she comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, I happen to work for the department at the college that goes to high schools, and we go and help them sign up for community college, and you should go talk to my manager, because I already told her about you, and like just reach out to her and have an interview. So I was like, really? Wow, that's incredible. I remember feeling so amazing. I was like, oh, okay, what an opportunity. And I reached out to her several times, and it was tough to get a hold of her, and she was never in the office. And then I saw that woman at the class again. I'm like, hey, it's been hard to get a hold of her. She's like, yeah, here, try her cell phone. And she's like, yeah, because you pretty much have the job. I was like, what? So I remember just one day after class, like she happens to return my phone call before I go home. And she's like, "Oh, are you able to like stop by?" I said, "Yeah." I was in sweats and a t-shirt, and I was like, "Well, I'm not dressed appropriate." She's like, "It's all right, just come down, right?" So I'm like in the sweats and the t-shirt, and we're talking, and she's like, the manager, and she was just really cool. She was like, "Oh, hey, like sorry about this, sorry about that, blah blah blah." I'm like, "All right, no problem." And then she hired me on the spot. And next thing you know, I'm working for the department that does exactly what I was doing for free. And then this is where I met, one of my day one morning hustlers, Rosa. Rosa was actually someone who had been part of that, who was actually working for that department for maybe a year at that point, maybe a year or 2 years at that point. And she ends up getting promoted to become one of the managers later on. But I had respect for Rosa. She basically had the role of a leader. We looked up to her and we reported to her for certain things, and she passed on messages from our main manager. And now here we are, like let's see, 6 years later. No, 5 years later. It's 5 years later. Rosa's a really dedicated member of the Morning Hustlers, and it's just incredible to I can't even believe it. Like, oh, that was like I remember just hanging out with her all the time and working, and it's cool to see her progress, and I'm sure she's really happy to see my progress as well. And just over time, I just do what I feel like I should do. And if I feel called to help out people in a specific way, like the morning hustlers just kind of happened because it just happened. It's not something that was a big plan. It was like, oh, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna execute on this thing. And that led to me building out this group. And 30 days later it goes international, because I meet my business partner, and she starts spreading the call to her international friends, from other friends from the UK, and then people from, someone from Japan joined. And then we had a kid who was like 13 years old from Africa. He joined, and then we had a lot more people join. And I've been doing this for, coming up on 14 months now. I like I've done this for over 400 days at this point. And today I had the opportunity to speak to students who go to the number one business and science school in the UK, the number one business and science school in the UK, and the number eighth university in the world. In the world. And I had the opportunity to speak to those kids, and it or students, I should say. It's been it's been an awesome journey to see where I was before and where I am now. And I spoke to them for free, and yeah, of course I speak to them for free. Like anything I can do to help out. I just feel called to do it. Like I really enjoy the speaking. I really enjoy being able to get value. And I think the best part of it, of all, for me at least, is just like I'm not trying to be somebody. I think it's really resonates with people that I am just genuinely who I am. And I do this because I want to do this. I'm not doing this for clout. I want to do this to, of course I want to make money off of this. And it's awesome that people find what I say very valuable. And it's cool because I've built this. I've really worked on my speaking skills for many, many, many years. And it's just cool to see things pay off like that. If you were to tell my 18-year-old self, like, hey man, this is about to be crazy, because I just kind of got the chills, that I'm about to say this sentence. If I told my 18-year-old self, who was going to community college and was so confused about what's going to happen, if I said, hey man, look, in about, I don't know, was it 7 years ago? Hey, this is going to sound crazy. In about 7 years, I'm gonna be like, that's so fucking long. In about 7 years, you're gonna be speaking to students who go to the number one business and science school in the UK. I would probably like jump out of my skin, like, what the hell are you talking about? How is that even gonna be possible? It doesn't even make sense. And it all started with just going back to my old high school and speaking to those students and doing it for free and doing it because I really wanted to. And, just taking action and um networking and giving value, like this amazing opportunity lands into my lap. And it was really cool to see some of my morning hustlers there as well. I wasn't expecting to see any of my morning hustlers there. I was like, what, this is really cool. And from what I heard from them is it was a fantastic speech. People are saying that I killed it. So hey, sounds good to me. As long as I can give some value, as long as I can change the life of at least one person, it's worth it for me, because there's advice that people have given on stage that just one little thing like genuinely changed my life, and I'm so grateful for that person. Like, Sharon, Shervitsa. Well, it shows how grateful I am for him, right? Considering I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but just the fact that he got on the stage and he talked about his 5 a.m. call, like that thing was probably the best decision that I've probably made in my life. And that's crazy to think about, because I just had that realization right now. Like creating the morning hustlers is probably the best decision that I've ever made. Wow. And that led to this opportunity. That led to getting closer with my business partner. That led to forming connections with ambitious people. None of this would have been possible without the morning hustlers. Wow. Um, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next several years, and what opportunities are going to present itself, and what's going to happen. And I think that just comes from just doing what you would just naturally do, with like what do you feel compelled to do, and go do that, and do it just because it makes you happy. And if you can mix in some business with that, and you can figure out a way to monetize that, god damn, like that's that's the dream right there. There's nothing wrong with capitalism. If things are unfair, go get your fair share. You got to work for it yourself. If you're just waiting for society or the government to hand you things, you're going to be you're going to be waiting until you die. Your grandkids are going to be waiting until they die. Um there's if I waited for society to make me feel better about myself, probably still be smoking weed and watching anime. If I waited for somebody to come save me, I would probably still be overweight. I'd be very depressed. Um I don't even think I'd be able to live with myself. Shit, I don't know. I might have even killed myself. I really don't know. I have no idea I have no idea where I'd be if I was waiting for something else to make my life better. No, there's no way. So take actions, follow that voice that's within your head that says you should go do this, and go do that thing. Follow the adventure. And even if that sounds ridiculous to certain people that you really admire and respect, fucking do it anyway. It's not their life, it's your life. And at the end of your life, you're going to judge your life based on, did you live the life that you wanted to live, or were you too afraid of the judgment of others? Were you too afraid to really fully be yourself because of what people were going to say about you, or you didn't think it was going to be accepted by certain people? Fuck that. If you want to do something, do it. Do it because you want to do it, and it's your life. Who gives a fuck if somebody that you admire may not resonate with that, or doesn't like that philosophy? They have a philosophy that works for them, and they have experiences that help them formulate that philosophy. And you have to be your own person for yourself. You have to form your own opinions and your own philosophy about life based on your experiences of life and what makes sense for you in your life. Like, you have a different set of parents, you had a different set of society, you look differently, you're built differently, literally, just physically. You Your brain developed probably a little bit different than that person. And there's certain things that you can look at someone and admire them for, and you can emulate them as best as you possibly can for you. But there's certain things that you do just so well that you know nobody's going to be able to emulate, because that's just who you are and that's what you're drawn to. So follow that fucking voice that's in your head that says go follow the thing or go do the thing that you should be doing, whatever that is, because there's some beautiful things that can happen from that. Because now that I've spoke to these students, I'm like, well, if this is possible, well, fuck, anything's possible. And like, truthfully, like, if a guy who dropped out of community college can one day, not too much later, it's not like I'm fucking 40, 50, 60 years old and I'm like, I'm going back and I have the credibility to speak. I'm speaking at this prestigious college as a 25-year-old. Who the fuck does that, right? Who gets that opportunity? And who knows, maybe one day I'll be able to speak at MIT, maybe I'll be able to speak at Yale or Harvard. Those are amazing things to say that you did, and if it presents itself, that's awesome. If it doesn't present itself, whatever. And I'm gonna find other opportunities, and I'm just gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna speak until I die, and I'm documenting everything as I possibly can, because we never know when we're gonna die. We have no idea when we're gonna die. It can be today. Like, the day's winding down at 7:21 p.m. right now. I can literally die today. Like, somebody can go, some kind of tragic event, like something can fucking happen. Anything can fucking happen, but that doesn't mean be paranoid all the time. It means accepting it. Like, okay, I can't be taking life for granted too much, because it can just end at whatever point. I got to make sure that I feel okay with my life. And the way I feel okay with my life is, well, am I doing the things that make me feel proud of myself? Am I living through values that I know that are going to reap some long-term benefit for myself, long-term benefit for my family? Are my relationships okay? Did I call my mom today? Did I text my dad today? Did I reach out to my sister? Did I let them know that I love them? Just these little things, and it's just like, well, each and every single day that passes by, I make sure that if that's the day that I die, I do my best to make sure that, hey, you know what, that was a good day to die on. So anyway, that's all I got. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, again, you can check that out. If you're listening on Spotify or hopefully Apple Podcasts coming soon, hopefully, you can actually watch the video on YouTube, Outlier Circle. If you're watching this video on Outlier Circle, you can go to CEO Life on Spotify, and again, hopefully Apple Podcasts soon, and go ahead and give this a listen. So, hey, I appreciate you listening, and I will talk to you soon. Peace out.